Whole life insurance is a scam. It's a scam. All right, let me show you this. I gotta share this. All right, so this guy Keith Wilson. I got no qualm with this guy, but I actually don't have any qualm with what he says here. He says, in my 30 years in business, a total of 0 people have ever walked into my office with over $1 million of accumulated cash value in their life insurance. But yeah, I've met hundreds, if not hundreds of folks who have been able to accumulate millions of dollars from scratch in 401ks and IRAs. Insurance is for the managing of risk of premature death and wealth protection after it's been accumulated. It's simply not an efficient accumulation tool. If it was, I'd sell it for my accumulation, but I don't. And I got no qualm with that at all. None. All right, but if you look on YouTube, you're going to have all these people, whole life, and you know who you're talking about, Franklin, Tennessee. Whole life insurance is a scam. The issue I have with this thing is that, is kind of like, because he hasn't seen someone walk in his office with $1 million, the assumption is it doesn't exist. It's kind of like Pauline Kael, who didn't vote for Nixon. She voted for George McGovern. She goes, I can't believe Nixon won. No one I know voted for him. That was in 1972. I think she wrote for the New York Times. Now, I have seen people with over $1 million of accumulated assets in whole life insurance and universal life insurance. Both of those are permanent life insurance policies. Not many, I grant you. But the reason I haven't seen many is because no one does it from a young age. That's the issue. To make the whole life insurance really shine, you really got to fund it pretty heavily when you're young, dude. And when I mean pretty heavily, not $2,000 a year. If you can do $5,000, $10,000 a year, that puppy can shine. Because my example, and which I said in here, right here, I made a couple comments. I can't remember. Someone has said basically it's either or, whole life insurance or investments. I said, well, you can't do both, mutually exclusive. I didn't know that because you can do both. But the benefit of whole life insurance is that the efficiency of the stock market, this is what drives me crazy about the stocks for the long run crowd. The efficiency of the stock market is that if we start here, we go there. Like, look how efficient that is. Oh, my furry friends, do not look how the volatility of the stock market makes it less efficient just inherently. That doesn't mean you don't invest in stocks. But the idea of stocks for the long run, stocks will always beat bonds, always beat cash, always beat this. Well, you can't see. We don't know. No one knows that. And we can look at Japan. We can look at the Great Depression. We can even start in 1871. From 1871 to 1879 or something like that, you got about 2% rate of return on your stocks. From 1903 to 1920, you got a 5.5% rate of return on your stocks on average. And it had a lot of volatility in there. And yet bonds around that time were paying just a little bit less. And bonds didn't have the same near level of volatility. In life insurance, there is no volatility. It just is what it is. Doesn't mean you can make any money, but there is no volatility. So So I would say you can make an argument, an efficient portfolio that never goes down is more efficient, especially when it comes to taking distributions, than a portfolio that might give me more money, but it is higher. You see what I'm saying? Because you still have to live your life. Remember, in the Great Depression from 1929, you didn't get back to even. That's with dividends reinvested to like 1944. That's 15 years, dudes. So this is the problem I have with these people is they say, well, it never happened. And I said, well, I had a guy. It happened. Let's see. I said, so this guy says, you can't do both. They're mutually exclusive. Wow, I didn't know this. And this guy says, of course you can do both. The point is that the post is far too many times is inappropriately sold. And I say far too many times. You can quantify that. We could easily say investments are far too many times inappropriately sold. 10 to 12% expected rate of return comes to mind. It boggles me. All right, so let me show you this guy. He emailed me this today. Actually, it's funny. He just emailed me this today. It's great. This guy kicks. I love this guy, man. You don't see his name on here, but he put some funny stuff about how he's helping. It's just I'm just taking some of this off because I don't want you to know who this guy is or anything. But he had some other stuff to say to his email, not about the life insurance people, about what he's doing on his day-to-day thing with his significant other. It cracked me up. So kudos to you there, guy. Little over $1 million in real estate and a couple in liquid assets. Haven't begun to collect Social Security. Played money comes from dividends and trading options. In addition, I have a New York whole life insurance policy with a death benefit of $1.6 million. The cash value about $900,000. And this is the drawback here because he's not married, this guy. He's got a significant other who has her own kids and stuff like that, but he's not married. So we have a lot of cash value. We don't need that death benefit, if that makes sense. He says, screw Susie and Dave. It generates over $18,000 in dividends plus $19,000 in guarantees annually. So he's getting $37,000 a year, tax-free, of cash value appreciation. Dividends have been used to purchase paid-up additions. And so I wouldn't do that anymore just because you don't need the paid-up additions anymore. I mean, because you don't need the life insurance, he already says. Don't need any more insurance. Have sought advice on how to best use this asset. So if we take his $37,000 that he's getting tax-free off his $900,000 of cash value, he's getting 4.1%. And I can't say guarantee because I haven't seen the policy, but pretty doggone close, tax-free. If he's in a high tax, we'll just say a 25% tax bracket, that means he's getting tax equivalent yield of 5.5. Dude, even my man Alberto, who doesn't follow me anymore because he doesn't like my stance on reverse mortgages, he said he was able to buy some 5.5 tax-free municipal bonds in California in 2009 or something like that. Dude, if you can get, and that's 5, I think it was 5.5. I don't think it's tax equivalent yield. I think he was getting 5.5. Dude, if you can get 5.5 tax-free with no risk, man, what are you doing, dude? Just hang up your boots and just have fun. So what should this guy do with $900,000 of cash value? Well, you know, I don't know. He could easily buy a legacy policy and say, look, I want to leave endow a chair at maybe NYU to say this will be a non-woke chair. There's a million different things he could do with that policy for sure. He could gift it. Now, if he gifts it, it will be subject to gift tax. He won't pay any gift tax on it because he have the $5.5 million gift not annual gift tax exclusion, but lifetime gift tax exclusion. So he could gift it. I mean, there's a million different things he could do with this policy. But if it just sits there and he lives off the dividends alone, I mean, is that a bad deal? No. But how did he get that accumulation? We had to put it in the policy. I guarantee while he was younger, he's probably funding it with some pretty good money, probably $40,000 a year. Where this guy right here says, look, I'm not bashing this guy. I like what he's saying. He's saying, he says insurance for managing risk or wealth protection after it's been accumulated. But you don't have that kind of scratch in an insurance policy after it's been accumulated because you're so old by then. It's going to be tough to get underwritten for any significant cost. The older you get, I hate to say it, the more expensive insurance becomes. It's shocking, huh? If you live near a fire zone, the more expensive your homeowner's insurance can become. Crazy. If you live near a flood zone, the more expensive your homeowner's and flood insurance can become. Shocking. If you're older, you're more likely to die. You're closer to death, the more expensive your life insurance is to become, without question. There's a million different things he could do. He could reduce the death benefit. He could just take cash value out, but he doesn't need the money. I would, in this case, I just use it for an endowment. I say, look, I'm going to endow something. I don't know what it'd be. A million different things. You give it to freaking anti-abortionists and say, hey, we need you out there, baby. You know what I'm saying? What a million different things. But, all right, so let me show you something else here, too. For any young advisor reading this, do not get sucked into propaganda either for or against insurance. Insurance is just like a firearm. It's an inanimate object. In of itself, it carries no morality. Thus, it's up to you to figure out how to use it in the correct manner. But simply say it's a scam or has no place is what I used to do, and don't do that. Lots of investment guys will never tell you about second to die life insurance, for instance, which is a wonderful tool for estate and legacy planning. But guess what? It's an insurance product. Oh, no. Don't be so cocky as not to learn your trade. And, again, this guy seems like he's all right. Keith, well, I got no qualm with that guy. He seems like he's all right. But all the other guys just going, and I said I got a guy who had literally $3.5 million of cash value in his life insurance and a $5.5 million death benefit. And the same thing with this guy. He had a guarantee from USA at 5.85%. You're not going to see this anymore. Guaranteed 5.85%, amigos. If he's in a 25% tax equivalent, a 25% tax bracket divided by 0.75, that's a 7.8% tax equivalent yield, guaranteed by USAA. What's he to do with it? That's the question. What do you do with it, man? Because he didn't need the money anyway. I mean, he had a wife. I can't remember if he had kids or not. I can't remember. But it happens. Is it the best thing since sliced bread? No. Could you do better in stock? Sure. Could you do better in whole life insurance? Sure. We don't know what the future holds. But to simply say one thing's a scam, this other thing's a freaking a bag of chips is crazy. Both things can be used simultaneously. All right. Love your thoughts. Don't subscribe to my locals channel below because we're going live at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Try to keep this under 10 minutes so people say, you're talking too long. See ya.